Hi, everybody. Thank you for connecting with me today. And today we're going to talk about studying. Now, whatever age you are, and particularly if you are a young person in school or at university, but even as an older person, you might be doing various kinds of courses. Maybe it's schoolwork or a degree or a diploma or a certificate course, or you might be even doing something learning online at your own leisure. All of these courses, or most of them, require some amount of studying. Now, when we hear the word studying, we are like, oh, I don't think I want to do that. I like to learn, but studying is not really on. Now, when we have that attitude that studying is like, it's tough for us to actually benefit from the course or the school or the degree or diploma or the certificate we are doing. So I thought today I'll offer you a whole host of strategies of how you can get the best from your study experience and where you come out of it a more joyous person. So I'm going to offer you several strategies. The first is your attitude. Now, if you look at studying as if it's like an avalanche coming towards you or a tsunami has just washed you away, you're not going to enjoy it, right? And what is the point in not enjoying life? And for many of us, studying involves a whole host of our time in this life on earth. So if you could change the way you look at studying, where usually you sit there like, oh my goodness, I have to study. As opposed to that, if you could tell yourself, or even better, look at the whole process as, I learned something. I learn a skill. I'll learn a bit of information which I can take with me to the community, to the society for improving my life. I'll have so much of knowledge that I could even, if you really want to, show off to people with that I have this knowledge. I can help so much of people with this knowledge, you see. So, the first strategy is the way you look at it. And when you look at studying in that perspective, as an opportunity to grow the knowledge you already have, and to be equipped with so much more, the pleasure would be in sitting there and actually doing it. And there are people like that. I know a friend of mine who's a very accomplished psychiatrist who said he always loved studying. He always loved opening the book and going into the world of books and improving his information base of his own brain. That's number one. Number two is where you study the strategy. Consider. Now, some people think, okay, put the TV on, put the radio on, have a chit chat with somebody, have a little bit of a noise going, that it would help them. Maybe for a few it does. So we can't draw a line that everybody should be in absolute silence or a place of absolute solitude to study. But for most people, less noise, the better it is to study, because the less noise, less chances of you getting distracted. So try therefore to have an environment of study which is not so distracting, where there's noise and shouting and TVs and radios and whatnot. But for few people, a little bit of a background music or a little bit of a TV at the background might be helpful. But for a vast majority, a whole bunch of noise could be absolutely distracting. The third strategy is to consider what is the best time for you to study. Now, many of our older, mature friends and family would say, "I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and study. I used to go to bed by 10 p.m. What are you doing?" There is a truth in there, because we find that the human sleep cycle is best when it starts at about 10 p.m. in the night, because that's when the body really, is set to settle itself down, and having a good night's sleep is so essential. So if you break that tendency of the body for a long period of time, it could lead to fatigue and other issues for you. On and off, it is okay if you do actually break it. But keeping that information in mind, find the best time for you. Now, I, as a person, I can't possibly get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and study. I'm more like a night kind of a person. But I always keep in mind not to break, or shall we say, not to do all nighter for many days in a row, because that's going to create havoc in my body. So, therefore, the third strategy is to consider what science have said, consider what people have said about the best time to study, but listen into your own mind to know what is the best and the most productive time for you and to stick to it. The fourth strategy is the knowledge that reading is not studying. Many of us go, not studying. No, that's not studying. Studying is a process of where what you have read gets assimilated into your brain, where you have that information in you all locked into your brain. We know that just when we read, that doesn't happen, right? You're just reading it. It doesn't really get seeped into your brain. So, how do we convert the information that we get from reading to being that information being established in us? One way is to, when you're reading something new, to also connect it with the information that you already have on that topic in your head. So, for example, maybe you're doing something totally new. Like, for example, you want to learn how to do a home vegetation, or you want to learn how to grow flowers in your garden. And you've never done that before, but when you were younger, you had grown some flowers, which was a disaster. So, you have a bit of experience in flower growing, and now you're learning to grow flowers in a more professional way. So while you're reading and studying, you can consider your experience as a child when you used to just uproot things and go and grow things and that just died off. So connect your new information to what you already had earlier. And that can actually strengthen your memory traces. A second way in actually converting reading to studying is to bring examples in your mind to what is being written in the book. So, for example, if you're still in the process of learning how to grow proper flowers in your garden, and they tell you, okay, you should dig the soil like this, you should loosen the soil like this, you should water the soil like this, you could maybe think of, okay, fine. Now, how do I apply this to growing roses, if that's what you like, or if you, how do I apply this into growing crotons or whatever you like? You could visualize you actually, getting your rose plant and taking off the plastic black bag that comes with it, and how you could you would say, well, I will kind of do it in that spot in my garden, and I would kind of earth all in your mind. So, as an example, you're visualizing the process that you would eventually do based on the information in the book. So it could be done for anything, not only growing flowers. It could be if you're studying, say, medicine or architecture, or you're doing a degree in education, in fashion design. Whatever information is in the book, you can visualize it while you're studying. Visualization is a very powerful strategy to actually establish information you have studied into your head. Another sub strategy in this overall strategy of reading to study is where you can tell yourself, as if you're the teacher, teaching yourself on what you study. Or you can teach somebody else. They say teaching somebody is the best ways of learning. So when you teach somebody what you've known, what you studied, it assimilates into your brain better. And you also know what are the little loopholes or the little bits of information you still need to learn more on. So, of course, that doesn't mean that you get hold of somebody in your family, this poor soul who has now to listen to all what you studied on physics or chemistry or social studies or humanities. If there's somebody willing, that's fine. If there isn't, teach yourself. So, want to study a particular section, think that you're the student and you're the teacher teaching the student. That will be a great way of actually converting what you read into actual data inside your head. And the final strategy I want to teach you is test yourself. So either do exam papers, past papers, or if you don't have any of those, set yourself a little question. It could be a very simple one, like how would I grow daffodils or sunflowers in the Colombo district, which is not commonly done. And you can just write a list of points that you need to consider. So even in a course that doesn't really necessitate you taking an exam, you could still ensure what you had studied sticks to your brain by setting a simple question for yourself and answering it. That establishes the data that you study. So today I gave you, I think, about 8 strategies which you could use to improve your study and to retain the information that you studied with you for a long period of time. If you found this clip useful, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, which will give you more information on various aspects of psychology. In fact, as a follow on for this particular topic on studying, I'm going to do another topic on studying with mindfulness or with present moment awareness, and I encourage you to listen to that if you would like to improve your study habits. I wish you all the best in all your endeavors in your life. Thank you for listening to me.